Hi, today I'd like to show you how CostLocker can work with recurring projects. Maybe I should specify what a recurring project means. For example, projects that you bill to the client once per month, or hosting or domains that you bill to the client once per year. But they can also be internal projects like the staff meeting you have every Monday, where you talk about projects and clients. This too is actually a project which I personally recommend solving as a recurring project, but I will talk about that in detail in another video. Now, let's take a look at how to create a recurring project in CostLocker. Start by choosing Projects in the upper toolbar, and then click here right on Add a new project. This brings us to the first step of creating a project, where we ask whether you want to create a standard project that has a defined start and end, or a recurring project. In our case, we will choose recurring. Enter the project name, and as soon as the project is created, we will automatically add the month and year after the project name. If you use project IDs at your company, enter it here or check the Auto ID option, which will automatically create a project ID for you following the previous ID from the same year. Here, I select the client and then designate from which day of the month this recurring project will start running. So I will set that the recurring project always runs from the first day of the month here. And here, I can choose whether the project should recur on a monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis. For instance, if we choose a monthly frequency, then in precisely 1 month on March the 1st, the project will automatically be duplicated and created for the next month. If you have agreed with clients that you will invoice this project only for a period of 6 months, you can define when project recurrence should stop right here. So let's say that you and the client have agreed to stop invoicing this project in June. There, that's set. Now let's get to where we ask you what should happen to the project at the end of the month. You can choose from 3 options. The first option says that we should do nothing with the project and you will take care of it yourself. This means that we should leave the project open even after March the 1st, and even allow people to keep tracking on it or edit hours in the timesheet for this project. Let me just point out that if you choose this option, it may happen that people will accidentally track in the original month instead of the new month, and you will have extra work transferring their hours from the previous month. The second option will leave the project open at the end of the month only for me and won't show the project to people in their time tracking after March the 1st and won't let them edit the worked hours in their timesheets. This is the most common choice used by our clients for invoicing recurring projects. The third option will take the project at the end of the month, automatically close it and mark it as completely invoiced, and move it from running to closed projects. Naturally, this means that people won't see this project in their time tracking and won't be able to edit worked hours in their timesheets. I will skip responsible people and tags for now because I spoke about those in a different video. You can see the link here. Click on it to watch the video where we describe tags and how to use them in detail. Let's continue creating the recurring project and move on to the next step. We are in the section where you add the people who will be working on the project. Indicate the number of hours they have for it and the roles or activities they perform on the project. We'll start with this. Let's say we have an account manager for the project. First, we create the account management activity. You can see it here. Then, we choose the person that will perform this activity and add how many hours are allocated for this activity based on the budget you've agreed with the client. Then indicate how much you sell this account management activity to the client for. I will add an hourly rate of $100 here. You can even define the specific tasks that the person should carry out. This means, for instance, that I know this account manager will be performing project coordination. They will also be responsible for communicating with the client, meetings, phone calls, status reports, etc. Again, I add the expected number of hours they will spend on both of these tasks. This way, you gradually define other activities, people, planned hours, client sales rates, and that's it. This isn't the only way of adding the project calculation. There are others. For instance, if you do not know the budget breakdown for the activity, client rates, etc., but you do know the total project price that you want to invoice every month. But we will talk about that in another video. Now, let's move on to the next step in creating a recurring project. In this step, it's all about external costs which you may have for this recurring project. For example, you are a social media agency that takes care of the client's Facebook advertising. Here, you can indicate that a regular external cost for this recurring project is credit Facebook ads, by adding the amount of the credit you spend on Facebook during the month in this field here, and adding the amount you bill to the client in this field here. In this case, it is the same amount because your work related to Facebook ad management is already entered in the previous step through the responsible person. Let's say that this is the only external cost for this recurring project. Moving on. We will not deal with this step right now because there is no discount on this project. And that's it. We have just created a recurring project. Here you can see that next to your project name, we have added not just the indicator that it is a recurring project, but also the month and year. So now if you look at running projects, you will see your project right here, running for the current month. The people I added to this project can now start tracking the worked hours and generating costs for worked hours, and as a result, you will know the project profitability and other metrics. But all of this is described in detail in another video under the link on your screen right now. Let's take a look at one more situation that can occur for the recurring project. Let's say that you and the client agree to increase the budget for this project. Where should you make this change? Where do you find the calculation that you need to modify and increase? Click again on Projects in the upper toolbar and then on the Recurring tab. All of the templates for recurring projects you have created are saved here. Choose the project for which you want to increase the calculation and click on the Cost Estimate tab and then on this button here on the right. This gives you access to edit the recurring project template. I will add hours here and save the change. What has happened? You can see that the template now says that we will invoice the client this amount for this recurring project. But this change will only be valid from the next period. This means that if we look at current projects now, we will see that the current month still shows the original price. That's all for today. I hope this was helpful for you and helped you better understand how recurring projects in CostLocker work. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to write to me at kamil@costlocker.com. Thank you for your attention.